The segment of full-size SUVs is filled with vehicles the size of small apartment buildings. They'll seat 7 to 8 people, have vast amounts of cargo capacity, and a lot of them have a lot of luxury features. And this week we've been driving this, the refreshed 2021 Nissan Armada, and this one is a Midnight Edition. So we're going to talk about what I loved and hate about this body-on-frame full-size Nissan Armada. Since we're outside, we'll do a walk around again. Refresh styling, it's a little bit sharper. We see the new LED daytime running lights up here, a little more angled, the new V-Motion grille. This is the Midnight Edition, so it has a blacked out grille here, and you'll note the new Nissan logo too, which I think looks really sharp. There's a front camera right here inside the logo there up front. I mean, it's a huge vehicle. You can see how big it is. 20-inch wheels exclusive to the Midnight Edition. V8 badge on the side, which is also blacked out. Has some fixed side steps here. It's a tall vehicle. It's huge. It makes other SUVs look small. And then again, because of the Midnight Edition, we have blacked out badges here and the whole surround across the back. The rear bumper on the Armada has always jutted out quite a bit. Same here. This is a 7-seater as configured, but it can seat 8 if you don't have these second row captain's chairs. We have all 3 rows up right now, so this is the amount of cargo space you have out back. This Armada lettering here on this rear mat. And I believe, because this is an SL trim, we have to actually pull that little cloth loop here to put the rear seats down. Upper tier trims, I believe it's like one-touch power. So we have a nice load floor back here. You can definitely fit a lot of stuff here. Let's go ahead and close that trunk. Let's check out the second row space. So the driver's seat here is set to where I drive at 6'3". Hopping in the back, I've got plenty of legroom here. My knees have space. I have tons of headroom. You did sit pretty vertical. It's a big feeling vehicle, but the second row is very comfortable. We have the center console here because we have captain's chairs. That has a nice armrest here. Got some cup holders. All right, but now let's hop back out and hop into the front. Quite a big drop from the seats down to the ground, so it's nice that we have this running board. You note Midnight Edition on the floor mats, so full black leather interior here for the SL. New Nissan badge on the steering wheel too. Let's start it up. 5.6 liter direct injected V8 that makes 400 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. Now that we are in the Armada, we'll take a quick look around the interior. So this vehicle debuted several years ago, and this is a refresh, and the most clear thing you'll see is the big 12.3-inch center touchscreen there for the infotainment. It does now have Apple CarPlay, wireless Apple CarPlay, and wired Android Auto. We also have a digital display screen here in the middle that'll show things like your driver assistance things, your trip computer, with Nissan Safety Shield 360, the things like lane keep. We'll talk about that in a moment, but nice digital display screen now in the middle. Not as fancy as some of the new fully digital dashes, but again, this architecture is just getting a mid-cycle update to it. We've got, again, the new Nissan badge in the middle. Down here, we've got manual controls for your climate control, which is really easy to use. And then underneath this cover here is actually a wireless phone charger, USB-C, regular USB, standard trailer brake control too, which is convenient. We've got a rotary dial here with some home shortcuts and things like that for the cameras on the center screen there. You'll see the surround view cameras. You also see that I did not actually park in a parking spot because I'm filming a video, not parking a car. A couple cup holders, center area here. You have the window sticker pulled up. This one is actually a 2-wheel drive auto. Only 7-speed automatic transmission is available. SL trim, which is kind of towards the middle. Not as high as a Platinum or things like that, but it's got some nice equipment as the Midnight Edition. We'll talk about that more in a moment, but as option, this one is $60,000, $525. One thing you obviously cannot miss is just the sheer magnitude of a full-size SUV. I've driven a couple of the recent ones, things like Cadillac Escalade, Ford Expedition, and this, and they are, it's for people who have big families or just need a full-size SUV. They are huge. This one can seat up to 8 if you don't do the captain's chairs, like I mentioned, but this one will seat 7. I've been in the third row of an Armada, and it's all right. It's not the most comfortable. I don't quite fit comfortably, but again, it's more for probably children and things like that. And again, this is shared with the Infiniti QX80. This is effectively the same thing. underneath. And then I guess underneath it's also a Nissan Patrol. But the first thing that I really love about the Nissan Armada is the powertrain and how smooth and quiet it is. That 5.6 liter direct injected V8 is the only engine available. It makes 400 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque paired to a 7-speed automatic transmission, and it's just smooth. And that, coupled with the isolation, the sound, I guess lack of sound and road noise in this vehicle, makes for a really serene, almost luxurious experience. You're well isolated from the road. So I think that powertrain combination is really good, and the overall vehicle experience, I was quite surprised at how isolated and quiet it was. The second thing I really liked is the value for the Nissan Armada. So starting at just under $53,000, I believe it's $52,900. This one, as an SL, has more equipment, Midnight Edition, at around $60,000. A lot of things are standard. Nissan's been making a big case with Safety Shield 360. After a quick look at my notes, things like automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning, the rear traffic, all of that type of thing are standard with Nissan Safety Shield 360, and that's a very compelling thing, especially with a vehicle of this size. Other things that make this a good value, best-in-class standard towing capacity of 8,500 pounds. Like I mentioned, that trailer brake controller is also standard on the Armada. So it's not a cheap vehicle. I mean, everything of this size, these massive SUVs are pretty pricey in the 50s to 60s, and fully loaded, I'm sure a Platinum gets even more expensive. But it has a lot of compelling features, and the driving experience is quite comfortable and silent. And the last thing is, another thing I loved is how solid this feels. Underneath, I mentioned, is a Patrol, technically, and it's body on frame, available 4-wheel drive, but it's like a tank. It's like you're driving an apartment on wheels. It's like you're in a bank vault. It's quiet, isolated, and it just feels like it'll handle everything you throw at it. Kelley Blue Book actually gave this, I think, the lowest 5-year cost of ownership for a full-size SUV, 2021. So it's just a solid feeling vehicle that you can just use, and it'll tackle anything you need. I mean, if you think about the Nissan Patrol, not sold here, but that's a pretty solid platform to be built off of. What are some of the things that I hated, didn't like as much? Well, it's isolated and quiet and smooth, but at the same time, this has the loosest steering I felt short of a previous generation G-Wagon. I mean, I'm cruising along at 40 miles an hour, and I can do this, and it's pretty much tracking straight. You feel a little bit of a wiggles, but like, yeah. That's super loose and light steering. So again, nothing of this magnitude is really trying to be a sports SUV or a sports car. That's not the intent. Look, QX80, it's an upper sibling of this thing. But I mean, this is a little bit alarming sometimes. Steering is very light, but I could do that at the freeway speeds too. The vehicle just kind of keeps walking straight. So that I didn't really like. There are some aspects of this that are feeling a little bit dated, like I showed you earlier with the surround view camera. It's not the clearest. The sunroof isn't like a huge panoramic sunroof. Oops, lane departure warning got annoyed at me. Not a panoramic sunroof. I was just driving the all-new Nissan Pathfinder, and it just felt overall way newer, designed from the ground up to be a much newer vehicle with newer technology. This one is done well with this mid-cycle to keep it relevant, but you can tell some of the architecture feels a little bit on the older side for the Armada. Now, the last thing I didn't really like was the fuel economy. So it only has a 7-speed automatic transmission. Some of the other competitors in this space have gone to 10 speeds, forced induction. For example, I was driving an Expedition Platinum Max. Max is actually long wheelbase. You can't get a long wheelbase on the Armada, but that EcoBoost engine paired to the 10-speed will get much better fuel economy. This one's a 2-wheel drive, so I believe it's rated at 14 city, 19 highway, and I think 16 combined. If you get 4-wheel drive, you will lose 1 mpg from all the counts there, because 4-wheel drive adds some weight, and that will lower your fuel economy, but that's not brilliant. I believe the things like the Expedition can get into the 20s with the EcoBoost and 10-speed. So it's not the most efficient vehicle, but it's, I mean, just smooth, linear, creamy power. So this is an SUV that does a couple things very well. It's very isolated, it's hugely practical, and you can just eat miles and not worry about things. But if you're looking for something that maybe handles a little tighter, honestly, I feel like my Ram 1500 handled better than this Armada. That will be a little bit of a downside. Is this overall refresh well done? Yes, I think it brings, keeps it relevant. It looks sharper on the outside. I think this looks much better than the previous generation. It also serves as a great value with this like SL Midnight Edition. It looks pretty cool, blacked out badges. It's got tons of space. It has all the equipment. I mean, the Safety Shield 360, your Apple CarPlay, 13-speaker Bose sound system. We got heated front seats. It does what you needed to do for the $60,000 price tag. Can you option it up even more? Yes, the Platinums get a little more well-equipped. You get things like quilted leather, open pore wood. Can you get a QX80? Yes, that's an Infinity. That's competing in the luxury space. But as it stands, this Armada was interesting to experience. It was especially interesting comparing to the Pathfinder I just drove, which was all new, which I actually liked a lot. And you could see how this was slightly older architecture. But here it is. Here it is, the full-sized Armada. Quick little point of view drive. The big takeaways are it is very quiet and isolated, very smooth powertrain, has some good new tech, it has some of the loosest steering I've ever felt. Like body motion is not the most well controlled, but woo, body roll is apparent. But that also is why it's so comfortable. You can take these things off-roading with four-wheel drive. Great platform that is based off of. It's just so different from when I'm driving other times at my garage. Anyways, there it is, the Nissan Armada. Quick little video about what I liked and disliked about it. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out the Nissan Pathfinder video that is coming up soon. I got to attend one of the first media drives on that. Took it off-roading too, which was quite fun. Thanks for watching.